Welcome to the Covenant Woman podcast, where we talk about faith, we focus on making God the number one priority of our lives, and we are learning that true fulfillment is found when we are saying yes to those assignments that God has handpicked for each of us. I am so grateful you're here, and I truly believe this message will bless you. Hey guys, welcome back to the Covenant Woman podcast, where we are focusing this series on God's miracle working power within you. And I'm so excited about this topic. I'm so excited about this series, but I'm even more excited to introduce to you guys my good friend who gets to be on here with me today, Kaylee Phillips.
Hey guys, I'm so happy to be here right now. Thank you, Shay.
Thank you so much for being here, Kaylee. I'm so excited about this episode specifically because you are someone who is all about empowering women, but you are also all about being obedient and letting God lead you. And that's really what I want to dig into today. And I don't know, how long have we known each other? Since what, 2016, 2017?
2017, like January, okay. I think, of 2017.
It's almost 10 years before you become a mom.
Yeah, baby Kaylee. I was
young Kaylee.
I had just started my first business and then joined the hair business with you. And yeah, I was freshly married and just starting out.
It's crazy to think that much time has already passed. And I got to say, I have always been so impressed by you. How old were you whenever we first met? Like 20. Early 20s? 24. Okay. You were already running the successful business. And I remember thinking, gosh, she is so bold. And like you had signed in network marketing with me, but I remember going to you and asking you questions. And I was like, hey, how do you do this? How do you show up like this? How are you so authentic? And because you're so sincere, you're so bold, and you've always had this confidence that just shines from within you.
Thank you.
And I've always been so impressed by that. You're welcome. So do you want to go ahead and start by just telling the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So like Shay said, my name is Kaylee, and I am a 33-year-old wife and a mama. I have two littles. I have Suede, our daughter. She's 6, and she's in kindergarten. And wow, if you're a mom, Shay, you remember what it's like when your littles turn school age. And wow, what an adjustment, and so bittersweet also. But yeah, she is amazing. Suede, she's our little, like, strong-willed, like, independent, but at times can be super sweet and soft. Like, she's a lot like her mama. And then Briggs McCoy is our son, and he is 2 years old. And so, yeah, I have one at home with me all the time while running my online businesses. So that's been an adjustment because, like we were talking about just a few minutes ago, I started out in retail and I had a storefront and I ran that for 7 years. So it's actually a fresh transition for me to be not tied down to a physical brick and mortar. And now I'm a stay-at-home working mom, but I'm absolutely loving this stage of my life. And just like Shay said, I want to obey what God is leading me to do, and I feel like He's calling me to kind of slow down a little bit and be so super present at home with my husband, our kids, and He's molding me into the woman He wants me to be in order to touch the women I'm supposed to touch, right? So I needed to slow down for sure. So we live in Wyoming, and I am a country girl. I've always been in the Western industry. I grew up on a ranch, and I married a rodeo cowboy, and yeah, that's kind of been a huge part of my life. And I think that has helped shape me a lot into the woman I am, with just that determination and that independence.
Well, I love watching you through social media. You post things about your family, you post things about your entrepreneurial side of you, but I love keeping up with that. And you guys, she has the sweetest, cutest family, and Suede looks identical to you. I know God is calling you into some different things right now. So normally I would say, tell us about the assignment that God is calling you into. But I feel like over this past couple of years, or maybe the past year, I've seen God really taking you into a couple of different places. And like you said, whenever I first met you, you were doing something completely different. And I love that God's called you to be able to be at home more, be more present with your kids. And I will say this too. I love just the way that you handle everything it is to do with business, social media, your family, because you truly put God and then your family first. And that's the way that it's supposed to be. So I think that's such an incredible example.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. I think that's so important for other people. We live in such a hustle culture. And I know I've got wrapped up into
Yeah.
it before with business and allowing it to distract me from the things that, should be first, should be
Yes.
number one priority. And so I think it's so important for women to know that it's okay to just kind of calm down. It's okay to not be in that hustle culture. Make sure that God is the first priority, then your family, and to just do what God is leading you to do, because it's going to be exactly what it's supposed to be if we're saying yes to God. So can you tell us a little bit about those assignments that God is calling you into? And was there a time in the beginning when he started talking to you about these things that you were kind of afraid to either make that transition or allow that thing to blossom or shine inside of you?
Yeah. So I think this question requires some backstory. So let me backtrack a little bit. Like we said, we were talking about I was a business owner at a young age. So 24, I opened a boutique, and I had been in the retail industry prior to that, and I was an assistant manager at a chain boutique store. And I fell in love with retail. That was not my plan. That was not what I went to school for or anything. But I am based off of how I feel about something. Like, if something just doesn't feel right to me, I'm not going to continue to pursue it. And what I went to school for, just to be open, was dance. I was a dance major and have a dance degree. And I was going to be a dance school owner and teach dance, right? Well, after my experience in the retail industry and being hands-on with women and helping them feel confident, it was so exciting to me. And it didn't feel like work. And I was like, gosh, I really love this industry and I want to stick with it. So after my husband, my then fiance, and I moved to be closer to my family, I decided to open my boutique. And I had that for 7 years. And it was an amazing journey. And just gosh, looking back on it, I think one important note I want to make is, like I said, I didn't go to school for retail or business, but I what I learned and that life experience, I couldn't have learned that through school, right? And so, like, it's okay that you might not have the perfect skill set. If you feel something's placed on you, it's okay to pursue it and learn as you go, right?
I love that. I'm so glad that you said that,
Yeah.
because I think so many people, especially young people, I have an 18-year-old daughter about to graduate high school, and it's like there's so much pressure to have it all figured out and to know what you're doing. And really, whenever you're saying yes to that thing that God's leading you to, you may know nothing about it until you take that first step. So I'm so glad that you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I really connect with the idea of helping women feel confident and uplift them. And I think, though, can I just say, that's such a it kind of sounds like kind of cheesy, because I think it's overused, and I think women use it and they don't back it, like, in today's society. And so when someone hears me say, like, gosh, I'm all about women empowerment, like, it's like blah, 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 blah. Like, we hear it all the time. But no, genuinely, I am so passionate about it, and I back it through my actions.
Yeah, well, I can attest to that. And I think that what you're saying makes so much sense, because in social media right now, we do see that said over and over again. And usually, not to knock anybody, but usually it is because somebody's trying to sell something. But I can attest to you and just how sincere you are. and how genuine you are. And I know for a fact you mean that because I've worked with you, obviously learned so much from you, and you have so much knowledge to offer women. But it truly is just knowing you. I wish everybody on here that's listening knew you right now, but there's so much sincerity with what you're saying, and you are truly about impacting the lives of other women. So for all of you guys listening, she means what she's saying, and she really does back up everything, single thing. And whenever you follow her, you will see that. I
Oh
promise.
yeah, come on over. Like I want y'all, whoever's listening, come on over because that's all I'm about on social media is just helping you. Whoever falls into my path, whoever God allows me to speak to through social media, like that's what I want. I want it to be a positive experience for you. So please come hang out with me. Okay, so let's see, going back to just life experience. So don't let that hold you back. If you feel like something's placed on your heart and you're not quite sure that you are perfectly ready, it's okay. Have faith and take those faithful steps forward, right? So that's what the boutique was for me. It was a way for me to practice just that, right? And just the boutique led me into what I'm currently doing. So I am a personal stylist. I am a fashion stylist who wants to teach women to find their inner confidence and then their personal style so that they are stepping confidently into their style without those insecurities and without trying to look around and see, gosh, what's trending? Am I staying relevant in my outfit choices? Gosh, this is no longer out in the fashion industry. Gosh, that's so much pressure. I need to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe, right? What I am doing is teaching women to just really be secure with their inner self. And I actually was led to this realization through my own personal growth journey. So I am a mom of two, and each postpartum experience for me was really rough, just like so many other women, right? And like Shay said, I've always been super confident. And it was hard because after you have babies, you're like, gosh, who am I now? You kind of lose yourself a little bit while this is such a blessing, obviously. And part of my calling is to be a mother. I want to be my own person and feel secure and in love with who I am, separate from that too, right?
Absolutely.
And so I went on a journey to rediscover who I was and to find my glow again, right? Because I was feeling dull. I was feeling disconnected. I was feeling like I had lost my spark. And I know that's so relatable. So if you're listening and you are a mom and if you're in postpartum and you're in the thick of it, I'm praying for you. And like I want to tell you it's going to be okay. And that's what I'm here for is to help women like you through your struggles, right? Just like I had to work through my own struggles. And so my transition into this new assignment from God came from really just my own journey of self-rediscovery. And I've been on a growth journey for 2.5 years now. And that is a multi-layer growth journey, right? So it was physical, mental, spiritual, right? All of the different layers of really internally working on myself. And everything got so much better when I started taking care of myself. Because that's the thing. We get so caught up in all of our responsibilities, especially as mothers, and all of our daily tasks that we neglect ourselves. And we don't realize it until now it's too late because now we are burnt out. Who am I supposed to be? That really opened my eyes to I want to help women on a much deeper level than retail. I don't want to just sell people clothing because I could help women get styled for an event, right? And they look so beautiful and they feel really good, right? When they leave the store and in this outfit that I help them with, but they go home at night, they take the outfit off and it's like that wasn't a genuine confidence. And in the retail industry, I heard so many of my clients say things like, I could never wear that. I wish I had your confidence so I could wear that. I hate my body. Like, just we're not nice to ourselves as women. And just you name it. Okay. Just women have a really negative experience with clothing and almost emotional too. It's just heavy sometimes for women. I wanted to just shake them and be like, no, you're so beautiful. And I want you to know that. I want you to see that. And I can help women switch that mindset. But I can also help women elevate in all areas of their lives, not just feel better in clothing. I mean, yes, that's one layer of it because I am a fashion stylist, but wow, it's so much more impactful than that. The growth journey, and when you stop neglecting yourself, it's so powerful.
I love everything that you're
Okay.
saying. And I want to, there was a couple things that I wanted to touch on. When you said that women, they buy a beautiful outfit, but then whenever they take it off, it's like, okay, now their confidence is gone. So it wasn't a genuine confidence. I just want to say how much I admire you. First of all, you've never like stopped showing up. You always show up.
Yeah.
To impact the lives of other women, no matter what you were going through. There is a difference in having that confidence within. And you guys, like, I've watched Kaylee doing her workouts and everything else on social media, and she's out there in sweatpants and a top knot, and she's t-shirt, but she still has that confidence. So I love that you said that, because it's not about the clothes that we put on, but it's about what we are on the inside, and being armored with the right things from the Lord on the inside. And so I'm so glad that you said that. And then there was something else that you said. I want to point this out, because I think through those more difficult seasons, and after your postpartum, you were probably dealing with somewhat of a difficult season, like you said, kind of losing yourself a little bit. But then I feel like as moms, when we feel like that, it's also like, now I feel guilty for feeling like I lost myself, and being a mom. And so there's so many emotions that come along with it. But through those difficult seasons, I feel like that's when God really shows you what next is, what that next step is. And he uses that for you to turn it around and use it for the good. And I've seen that so many times in so many people's testimonies. And the Lord, or I believe wholeheartedly, that he works with us in steps. He doesn't say, here, Kaylee, here's 57 things to go do. Go figure it out. He literally gives us one thing, and he doesn't tell us the next step until we say yes and we step into that thing. And I know, like, whenever I wrote my book, he gave me the one thing to do. I shied away from it. And he told me to go reach out to somebody specifically. And I was like, I don't even know this person. I'm scared to take that step. So whenever it comes to this assignment that he's led you into, do you remember the first step that he told you to take? And did you do it immediately, or did it take you a minute to come around to it?
Yes. Okay. I remember. So the first step was me letting go of my past business. My boutique was successful, right? Like, from the outside looking in, it was successful. Why would you close? Why would you close that? And like, I remember telling family, and they're like, what? No, that makes no sense. And you should just sell it. That's such a successful business. People will line up to buy that from you. That doesn't really feel right. Because that's mine. That's my baby. And it starts and ends with me.
Okay. Our families, I just want to say this. Our families love us more than anybody else does. Okay. But, and and we've talked about this before, but they don't always know what step we need to take next. I love that you were like, no, I'm going to do what God's leading me to do. But God doesn't go tell everyone in your family what you should do.
Yeah, and so they're confused.
Yes. I love you were so obedient to where the Lord was calling you and what he told you to do. And I just wanted to point that out, because I think there are so many people that look for the opinions of others, the loved ones. And the advice they give is because it's because they love us. It's because they love you. They don't want something bad to happen, or they want to see you get the biggest benefit out of something, but they don't always know. And one of my biggest things that I always say is, don't ask people for directions to a place they've never been.
Yes, I love that.
It's just like, why would we, right?
Yes, exactly. And I'm glad you brought that, because I don't know where I heard it, but I think it was Stephen Furtick. I listen to him all the time. And he was saying, people will be confused about your calling. People will be confused about your assignment. And that's good. They should be confused because that means it's uniquely yours. And the actions you're taking like are aligning with it. And nobody else is going to understand it except for you because it's yours. It's your calling. Until we've reached the steps and we've obeyed multiple steps and have been faithful, then people start to see it, right? So, yeah, people will be so confused. And they were. I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. This is what was laid on me. So that's what I'm going to do. So I closed the boutique after, 7 years, like I said, and I transitioned. So for me, yes, immediately I did this after I felt him tell me that this is the time that you need to move on from this. I created you for so much more over here, and this is just going to hold you back.
I love that you were obedient to what God told you to do, even though you have the successful business. It's going great. You built it from the ground up, and that had to have been hard to let go anyways, because you built it from the ground up. So as far as listening and obeying the voice of God, Romans 10:17, faith cometh by hearing, hearing by the word of God. And so until we grow in our knowledge in something, in the word, we cannot have faith in it. You have to have the knowledge first. And so many women that say, I don't know how you have the faith that you do. You've dealt with this and you've dealt with this opposition and this has happened to you. How do you have that faith? Like, how does that just come? And I just want to share with everyone, that faith comes from the word of God, from hearing the word of God specifically. So in order to have the ears to hear God's leading and to be obedient to that leading, we have to be strengthening our faith. So is there something that you do specifically? Do you have a specific routine, or is it different every day? A routine that you have with the Lord that gives you that quality time with him?
Yes. The first thing I did on my growth journey was God was saying, Kaylee, you need me again. You've kind of got distracted and you need to come back. So that was the first thing. And not that I was going down a bad path or anything, but like we talked about, the hustle culture, it's dangerous, in my opinion, because it distracts us from what is important in our lives, right? So that's the road I was on. And he was like, whoa, girl, slow down, come back. And then that last year of my business, I had started my spiritual journey again. And I was waking up every morning to have an hour of time with the Lord. I was praying, reading scripture, journaling. I think my heart had been opened. And so that's one big mindset shift I'm very pleased to have made moving forward, is that the next thing I want to do is I want him to show me the actions I need to take so that he can build the next thing with me, for me.
And I think that so many women can probably relate to that, as far as getting kind of deep into the hustle culture and trying to, even though you're building your business and God is still a part of your life, getting back into making him that number one priority. And that's when things switched for you.
Oh, man.
That's when that fulfillment, talk to us about fulfillment. Like, what does it feel like now that you feel more fulfilled now than what you did before? Take us on that journey with you.
Yeah. When I started my faith journey, getting back closer to God and listening to him, I started adding different layers, right, of growth inside of my journey. And so while it started with obviously faith and reconnecting with the Lord, I was out of shape because I just had a baby. But then I decided I'm going to have an hour in the morning for myself and for the Lord. And then once I got into routine with that, I felt confident in adding another thing for Kaylee into my routine. And it allowed me to not feel guilt because I was there with the Lord. Like, he wants us to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
He needs us to take care of ourselves so we can listen to him and take action. So it was the confidence that came with my faith to then add more layers of my growth journey. I would have 40 minutes to an hour by myself working out. And so, we haven't quite touched on this part yet, but I transitioned from the storefront into a showroom for a clothing label that I created and named it Suede and Coy. So after my children, it was appointment-based shopping. So I could be so present with my clients in a very personalized environment and teach them, educate them while they're in there with me, right? And I since have actually closed that too, right? Like you said, it's each step, and he's not going to elaborate really. And so
Yeah, because he doesn't want to overwhelm us. So it's do this one thing, and then once you do it, then I'll give you the next thing to do.
yeah, and so I had the showroom for about a year. For me, it was a gradual maybe thing to disconnect completely from the retail space. So he's led me to just impact women through that personal growth, through the how do you gain confidence, which then gives you fulfillment. Okay, are we going to fail? Yes. Every day is not going to be perfect, but we should strive to be our best version. So, a growth journey and gaining that confidence in just who I am and in the Lord. Like, who am I? Because this is what the Lord says. That is where the fulfillment came from.
Right. Yeah. And that fulfillment comes from that relationship with him. And then
Yeah.
as we take those steps to be obedient to his leading, I mean, because he created the plan, he created you, he created me, then he created these plans for our lives. And whenever we're walking in that plan and in the will of God and that direction for us, then of course we're going to be fulfilled because we are doing exactly what we were created to do. And I want to point something out because let's say we're talking about somebody else and they transition from the boutique to this showroom, and then a year and a half later they've closed that down. Somebody in those shoes might think, oh, I shouldn't have ever opened this showroom, maybe I shouldn't have done this. But you didn't have to question yourself because you were taking the Lord's leading. And from the showroom probably came a lot of extra time for you to talk to God and to minister to your heart, and then that led you into the next thing. And so there,
Exactly.
even those things that somebody else might be like, she didn't, that didn't last very long. It's not about that. It's about literally taking the Lord's leading to that next thing. It's the next thing that he's leading you to. And I love that you were obedient even after a year and a half to say, hey, we're moving on to the next thing. I think that's such a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and that's exactly what it was. It allowed me time to figure it out. You
Absolutely.
don't figure it out until you do it, right? You have to actually do it. And
Yeah.
so yeah, are we going to get it wrong? Sometimes, yes.
Giving you that extra time with him. He's given you possibly specific people that came into that showroom that are going to serve a role here later on in a later season of your life. And I think the way that he sets things up, it can't be explained in any other way than the way that he does it.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a beautiful thing. And I really want to talk about what he has led you into because,
I
oh
know.
my gosh, Kaylee, you guys, I wish that we could spend an hour talking about this. And I already know once we finish the series, Kaylee has to be back on here so we can talk more about this. But Kaylee has invented something with the Lord to help women to impact the lives of other women. And I've already told her once, I was so mad at myself for putting it off because I've been so busy. I'm so mad at myself for putting off this thing that Kaylee has come up with because it's life transforming and it's completely God led, God centered, but all the things that women need. And so, Kaylee, do you want to touch on that a little bit? Because
Oh my God.
whenever I got in there, I remember I told you, I said, I felt empowered just in the very beginning of this. Something was so empowering. I'm trying not to give any of the details and let you do that, but I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about that because it's amazing.
Yes. Okay. I fell in love with helping women feel the way I feel now as my current version, as I feel my best self. I'm still growing, right? And we always will continue to grow. But it's this idea that we should wake up and attempt to live our best version and our best life that day, right? And the more I think about it, the more I'm realizing he wants me to speak to women in a way where I can relate to them. It's called the Glow House, okay? And this came to me after many hours spent with the Lord and prayer and, the word glow house, like that came to me on a gratitude walk, which is something I do make time for still to this day. And I say in the glow house, because I'll tell you what it is in a moment, but gratitude is obviously spending time with the Lord, but gratitude is the most important thing. It's the key to you being able to mentally take control of how you're feeling and how you're going to choose to move forward with your day. If you're feeling negative, if you're feeling yuck, gratitude changes it immediately. It's wild. So on a gratitude walk, Glow House came to me. You're going to help women. You're going to give them the how to do what you just did and are still doing. Obviously, like I said, I'm still growing, but because so many women, they want the confidence. They look at someone else and they envy her. They want to be like that, right? They want to be able to walk out in that outfit and be that confident, or they want to confidently open their dream business, or they want to be more present inside of their day with their families instead of feeling stressed, anxiety, hustle, overwhelm, right? So I am giving women the how through a multi-layer guided growth journey. That's what Glow House is, a digital mentorship. I'm walking with you through the journey I went on to find my best version, because so many women will start a journey and they'll stop because they lack the motivation or they lack the mindset in order to continue, right? And all those things. So it's a roadmap that allows you to step into your highest version of confidence and your best version with all of these different layers of faith and physical and mental and gratitude. It's a 1-year-long journey. So it is your foundation to then live that way after you are equipped.
What I love so much about it is you've been there, you've been in the trenches. It's not something that you just come up with that you can't relate to.
Right.
I mean, that's how this all came to be, because you've taken each one of these steps and now you are going to impact so many women's lives because of it. And I will say, whenever you were talking about other women thinking, oh, I wish I could do that, or I wish I had the confidence to do this, it's all about the action, obviously the mindset, the spiritual part of it, but you are so big on action. You are a go-getter.
Yes.
And I admire that so much.
That's a whole other thing that is inside of Glow House that I teach you how to live intentionally. I teach you how to eliminate daily habits that do not serve your best version. They do not serve your family. They do not serve the dream life, right? They don't serve you. So we eliminate those. And these action steps that you will take inside of Glow House, one by one, it is not overwhelming at all. Because for me, looking back, when I started my growth journey and I was like, I need to figure out, who am I? It was overwhelming. So I wanted to create a safe space. It's for women who feel like maybe they had something really heavy happen to them in their life. I have a client who went through a divorce and abuse, and she's overcoming that and trying to find out who she is after that. And then she wants to impact women through her own testimony after she gets to where she can. That's one thing I love about Glow House is it takes away the overwhelm for women, and they get to work at their own pace because it is digital, right? But I have partnered with it a community, a private online community. So it is really cool because you can join that community and do it alongside women in real time. So we can all support each other on our growth journey. I can be there to mentor you, to check in on you weekly, to give you special live classes, or I do monthly coaching calls with my clients, and that's led by them, whatever is on their heart, whatever they need help with in that moment. And yes, like you were saying, action. In general, their biggest struggle is taking action and then staying consistent. I mean, if we were to just simplify it, that's the struggle.
You're absolutely right. That's why people aren't going after their callings. That's why people aren't building the businesses, doing the things that's on their heart, because everybody has desires. Every single
Absolutely.
person has desires, and God-given desires for those God-given things that they're supposed to do or supposed to accomplish. And anything that God puts on our hearts in one way or another, it touches the life of somebody else. If the action isn't taken, and sometimes it is just getting there spiritually and mentally first, like you talked about how it's multi-leveled and it helps people in every single direction. And I got to say, obviously, like Kaylee said, this would be amazing for anybody who has been through something difficult, a difficult season recently. But for me, I haven't faced like a really difficult
Right.
season lately or anything like that. I felt so empowered when I got in there. So it is for
I'm glad you said
every, like I said, I was kicking myself. I told you, I was like, why did I wait this long? Because I've had so many other things that I just haven't made it a priority to sit there and get in there and do it. And so I'm telling you guys, do not do what I did. Don't end up kicking yourself 6 months down the road. At least get some more information about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Get in there, see what it's about. And as an introvert, I've got to say, I am somebody who I like doing everything by myself. I don't like joining anything. I don't like being committed to anything additional or having any type of plans. I'm trying to get better at that, but I will say that I have learned that, especially when it comes to just stepping into a bolder version of myself, stepping into more of who God's called me to be, you need people surrounding you.
Mhm.
And it doesn't always need to be the people that you're super familiar with or your family, because sometimes they're just confused and they don't understand. But whenever you're surrounding yourself with people who are stepping into that boldness, stepping into more of who God's calling you to be, it's so nice to have those people surrounding you and cheering you on and just uplifting each other.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, and another thing I want to say is this is something I say all the time. You do not have to want this big, extravagant life, okay,
Right.
or have these huge goals to invest in growth. You just have to want to live your day-to-day life differently with more purpose. We are supposed to live our life, like not just go through the motions. And that's what so many people are doing. And we're missing out on memories. We're missing out on our potential. It sounds so deep, but it really is. It really is that deep.
You're right. Because if you're somebody listening to this, think about the difference it would make if you woke up every morning feeling fulfilled and you go to sleep every night feeling fulfilled. And, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be circumstances that arise or opposition that, for attacks from the enemy or things like that. We know that that's just life, but there's such a peacefulness. It's all from the
Man,
Lord. That peace is from Him, being fulfilled in and actually walking in true fulfillment that comes from Him. And so many people miss out on that. And whenever you're not fulfilled, you get distracted by things of this world and you try to fulfill yourself in other ways. And like Kaylee said, it's not about wanting to have this big extravagant life or, regardless of the calling or the assignment that God has for you, He has something for you. And it's so important to find out what that is so that you can feel that fulfillment. It makes all the difference in the world.
absolutely.
Kaylee, I've watched you for nearly a decade now, and I was so impressed by your boldness, by your confidence. But it is so awesome to see you, this transformation in you, where you are just so obedient to the Lord and you are literally walking in the assignment that He has you walking in, and you shine. Glow House is so fitting. You're glowing. It's so fitting for other people. Maybe they're starting to feel that tug of God. Be speaking to them saying, hey, come back, spend some time with me. Or, and maybe they just kind of keep pushing that to the back burner. What's your advice? And they're overwhelmed with things going on in their life, but they feel this tug of God to spend more time with them. And maybe they're kind of straddling the fence. And we've all been here. You know that you need to be spending the time with God. And every day you're like, I got too busy, or the kids had this, or we had this, we had family stuff. Business is too busy. What would you say to that woman who needs to make that time for God?
It's going to start with intentionality. You have to have that intention to actually make a change. We need to invite Him in. He's ready. He's there always. So I would say you're going to want to start with 5 minutes. One thing is I chose to just be an hour in the morning right away. Okay. I understand that maybe that's not for you right now. You have to gradually make micro changes in your daily habits, right? To get to where you want to be, eliminate the overwhelm by starting small. And God wants you there. He is grateful for any moment you give him.
Yes.
So, but whenever you can, okay, and you're going to just start small. So find a 5-minute window in your day, and it can literally be so relaxed at first. It could be, okay, the kids are busy. Okay, dinner is cooking. I'm standing in the kitchen. I'm going to close my eyes and talk to the Lord right now, or I'm going to, even if it's putting on a podcast and listening to a sermon or something, take whatever time you can and be intentional about it, because that's the thing is, in order to change and rewire your brain and your mindset, it's intentionality, right? So we have to train our brain to think, to do the thing. So you get too busy and you're like, you have default actions. Your body and your mind are just going to do what they always do, because that's what the body does. And you're in the kitchen, you're cooking, you're going to do what you always do, but you have to think, I have 5 minutes. I need to not maybe scroll TikTok, or it's a literal intention that's going to change your life. And intentional daily habits are the foundation for the growth journey. Just having intention and starting small. That would be my advice.
It's just like she said, don't think of it as, well, I only have 5 minutes. The Lord is grateful for any time that you open your mouth and that you speak to him, or anytime your ears are open to listen to what he's telling you or where he's leading you. I think that does scare people away sometimes, thinking it's got to be this proper sit down. I've got to have hours. Oh, the Bible's boring to me and I don't understand it. And it keeps them from spending that time. But just remember that, like, if you haven't experienced that yet, is the most fulfilling conversation, the most fulfilling relationship. And the more time you spend with the Lord, the more you desire it. And then the more you might feel awkward at first if you haven't had that time with him or have never experienced that before. But the longer you go, you just keep developing more of this hunger and more of this desire. And then you become this obedient person, and then you can hear him more. And it's just, there's just nothing else like it.
It's gradual.
It is.
It's gradual.
It
and
really
just like how in Glow House, when you're walking through the growth journey in Glow House, everything gradually gets better. You'll be like, wow, I haven't experienced comparison in a really long time. That just disappeared. Yes, it did, because you have your genuine inner confidence. If you feel the nudge and you want to spend more time with the Lord, pray before you begin. Pray and ask him to take the overwhelm from you. What do you want me to get out of this with you, Lord? And then begin.
Absolutely. And he'll lead you to whatever resource, whatever scripture in the Bible. He will lead you if you'll allow him that space to do so. And Kaylee, I do have a question for you, because we know people are all about setting goals and then putting things off until Monday, or some people on a Sunday, or some people are like, I'll start next quarter. What would you say with Glow House? Because this is something that somebody can come into pretty much at any time. What is your advice for people who they're used to waiting for a specific time to get started with something? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, my advice would just be that if you feel like, you're ready for a change, and kind of just what we talked about earlier, like, it doesn't have to be the perfect time. You don't have to be perfectly ready to make the next step, right? And so, in my opinion, I'm such a person who's like, why wait? It's such an exciting moment when you do reach the I'm done moment. Like, when you do feel so exhausted, so unfulfilled, like, it's almost, that can be exciting because everything's up from here.
And I would highly encourage you guys to go follow her and make friends with her, because Kaylee is the kind of friend you want, I promise. So Kaylee, if you could tell kind of how to connect with you on social.
I am mainly active on Instagram. I have 2 accounts there. So Kaylee Phillips is my personal but now it's turning into more my personal growth business page. And so you can find me there. That is where you're going to get a lot of the uplifting, a lot of the encouragement type content, right? And then your stylist Kaylee is my fashion account where I can teach you how to step confidently into your personal style. And you'll just see a bunch of tips and style tricks over there. And then TikTok, Kaylee Phillips as well. So on TikTok, I'm kind of doing a little bit of all of it. If you want, if you're on Facebook, come join me, Kaylee Phillips, yourstylistkaylee.com. That's where that transformation is mapped out for you. So if you want a visual and you want to see what is Glow House about, that's the hub where you can learn about Glow House is yourstylistkaylee.com. And all of the other styling, digital offers, and things like that.
Yes. Okay. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions if you have questions or just connect with her in general. And Kaylee, I just want to say thank you for being you. Thank you for being authentic. Thank you for not being afraid to transform and, evolve and become that person that God's leading you to be. You're so authentic and you're so easy to talk to. And I know everybody else appreciates that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for just making the time to be here today.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, I admire you so much. And wow, just seeing what God is doing through you is so inspiring. And I'm honored. I'm honored that you had me here.
I'm so honored for you to be here. I can't wait to keep going in Glow House. I'm so excited about that. You guys come join us in Glow House. I just want to thank you all for being here today. So you guys have a blessed week and I love you all. Thanks,
Bye,
Kaylee.
everyone. Thank you.
If you listen to this podcast, I believe God led you here for a reason. Visit thecovenantwoman.org to learn of upcoming events, stay inspired in your faith walk, and feel free to check out the books. If this message blessed you, please pass it along to a friend.